This is the photo setup I use to take pictures for my Poshmark, eBay, and Depop listings. It takes me about 90 seconds to photograph an item from all angles and another 30 seconds to weigh it, store it in a bag, and put it in an inventory box. In today's video, I'm going to share how I got that photo process to work that quick and efficient. Let's get started with the photography equipment. The first very important thing you're going to need is a good camera. You could try using a professional camera if you have one, but I tried that at first and I found it to be more of a hassle. Nowadays, phones are more than sufficient. The camera on those are of high quality and they can take similar photos to some of the pro cameras. And it's very simple to use because once you're done taking your pictures, all you'll have to do is use a USB cord like this. It is what I use to charge my phone, and then I would just connect one end to the phone, the other to my computer, and you can instantly transfer all of your photos if you're going to be listing there. If you're going to be listing on your phone, it's even more simple because the photos will already be here ready to upload to any platform. The next very important thing you're going to need is some good lighting. Natural light works really well. I started this way. I would take my shoe pictures outside and they would come out beautiful, very nice and clear. So if you have a big window that you can take pictures near, that will do the trick. The only problem with that is that you're always going to be dependent on daylight and good weather to get good photos for your listings. If you want professional looking photos all the time, eventually you are going to have to invest in some lights. Which brings us to the sponsor of today's video and giveaway, Neewer. I've been using and recommending Neewer ring lights for several years now because they are the best I found. I have a total of 3 now that I use, 2 for my photo setup and 1 for when I record YouTube videos. All Neewer ring lights will come with a storage bag like this, so you can break them down, put them in a bag, and store it for next time if you don't have a space where you can keep the ring light up all the time. They also come with a Bluetooth control, and you can download an app for you to control your ring light via your phone, and it also comes with a handy guide, but they are very simple to put together. It's like a 3-step process. It also comes with a phone holder that is adjustable. You can move it up or down however you need to. This is removable, so you can slide it right off if you don't want to use a phone holder. This is their newer model. It is a slim ring light, so it is very compact compared to those back there that I used before, and it has a lot of knobs all down the stand so you can adjust it as you need it, and there's a couple knobs up here so you can adjust how bright you want your light. I will leave Neewer's Amazon link in the description of this video if you'd like to check them out, and if you'd like to enter the giveaway for a free Neewer ring light, just leave a comment below this video letting me know you'd like to enter the giveaway. A couple of days after this video goes live, I will randomly select a winner. I will reply to your comment letting you know if you won, and I will probably also make a community post so that it's very hard to miss. Just make sure you are subscribed and you have notifications on so you are alerted when I make that post or if I reply to your comment. The next thing you will need for your photos is a background. The best protocol when it comes to backgrounds is to keep it as simple as possible. For backgrounds, you can just opt to take your pictures in a space in your home that is either all white all around or a very light neutral and plain color. If you don't have a space like that in your home, you can create that minimalist background effect, and one way to do that is to use trifold boards. It's the way I did it for many years, and all you will need is a couple of them. One will go on a flat surface opened up, and that's what you can use for your flat lay clothing photos. You can use the other one to put it standing straight up. That creates the all-around white background effect for shoes, purses, and other small items. That's what I did for years, but now I've switched up things a little bit. For the flat surface at the bottom, I used just an old plain desk, and I bought contact paper like this one from Amazon, and that's what I used to cover it up so that it was a plain neutral color. I went with the light gray color because it helps cream colored items or white items show up better. And then I just push this desk against the wall. The wall is white and it's a little bit textured, but I feel that helps so the background doesn't look completely matte. So that is what I use for my background right now. And when I have to take clothing pictures, I just remove this desk and hang up the items on that white thumbtack on top. For boots, knee-high long boots, you are going to need some sort of shapers. These will give the boot shape, but also will help them stand straight up. I got these right here for free in some shoes I got at the thrift store. But before I had these, I would just use paper towel rolls. Once I was done using paper towels, I'll keep all of those brown rolls and I will use that for my boots. And for strappy sandals, I use these clear acrylic inserts. This will help the strap stay up while you take your photos. And also, sometimes flat sandals are hard to keep up while you're trying to take photos of the side views, so I will use these inserts to hold them up. I'll use this edge right here that's the longest, put it up against the sandals, and it will make them stand straight up while you take those side views. Those 4 things, the camera, the lights, the background, and some sort of shapers, are the essential things you will need to take good pictures. The rest of the supplies we're going to be talking about are only necessary if you also want to measure, weigh, and inventory your item as you're taking pictures. Some people do these things later in their process. I think it's a lot more efficient to capture all that information during pictures. That way you already have all the important details you will need to create your listings on any platform. So the next 6 things are optional but highly recommended. Sometimes things can appear bigger or smaller in pictures than they do in person, and also with clothing, sizes will vary from brand to brand. So that's why I think measurements are an essential detail to include in all of your listings. For any shoe that has any sort of platform or heel, anything that isn't flat, I will use a small ruler like this one. I will just put it behind the shoe and take a picture so the customers know how high that platform or heel is. For longer knee-high and mid-calf boots, I will use this longer yardstick to measure clothing. Sometimes I do like using this yardstick just because it's less flimsy, easier to work with, and it can move things along a lot faster. But there are times that I have to resort to using this fabric measuring tape because it is flexible. With certain fabrics, this can be a lot more accurate, and with super long items, I have no choice because this goes all the way up to 120 inches, so it is a lot longer. With longer length dresses, this is a better option than this yardstick, which only goes up to 35 inches. Another thing you may want to have near your photo setup is some sort of size charts to record your measurements. These right here are the ones I created. I have some for all sorts of different kind of clothing items and also some for purses. I printed these out and went to FedEx so I can laminate them. That way they are reusable. I will use an expo marker to write down the measurements, and then I will take a picture of that. Then I can erase it with this microfiber cloth, and then I can reuse it for the next item. I do have these for sale on my Shopify website. I will leave them in the link down below if you'd like to buy these. You will have to print them and get them laminated to make them reusable. If you don't want to go through all of that trouble, you can also just use a whiteboard, write down your measurements with an expo marker and take a picture of that. Or the other option is to take a picture of the fabric tape on top of the clothing item and then just tell your customers in the description of your listings to look at the pictures for measurements. The next thing you will need if you want to prep your item for storage are some poly bags. I use 4 different sizes in these clear poly bags, and I will leave the sizes and the Amazon links in the description of this video. Right after I put my items in a bag, I will add a SKU number to the top right hand side, and then I will take a picture of the SKU number. That way when I'm listing, I can add that SKU number to all of my online platforms, so when it sells, it's super easy to find. And I do have a video explaining exactly how I create my SKUs and how my whole inventory system works, so you can watch that next if you want to learn more about it. Some reselling sites will ask for the weight of your item to give customers accurate shipping prices. So that is the next thing. I take a picture of the weight of the bagged item. And since I've captured all the information and photos I need up to this point, the next thing I will keep near my photo setup is a storage box. That way, when I'm done taking pictures of all of my items, they will already be in my inventory, organized in alphanumeric order. Now let's move on to some prep work you need to do ahead of time in order to take your pictures much faster. One of those things is to make sure you have your items prepped and cleaned before you start. Things work a lot faster when you do similar actions in batches. So before you even get to your picture station, make sure all your items are steamed, that your shoes are prepped and cleaned, so you're not stopping to do those kind of things as you're taking pictures. Also, try to have your items organized in similar piles. If you're taking pictures of shoes, separate them by boots, shoes, and sandals. If you're doing clothing, make sure you have all your tops together and then all of your jeans and then dresses. This is going to help a lot if you're using some sort of size chart so that you're not switching between different ones as you're taking pictures. And it also helps me with shoes because I use a different letter for different shoe categories. So this helps me avoid switching SKU sheets too often while I'm taking pictures. Another thing is to make sure you know your camera really well. A lot of us just know the basics when it comes to phones and taking pictures. We know to just point at something, click the shutter button, and take the picture. But really, all phone models have different tips and tricks you can use to get better photos. So go on to Google or YouTube and put in your phone model. After that, put in tips and tricks. You'll get a lot of different content that will show you exactly what settings you need to adjust to get those professional looking photos. That's how I learned, for example, that having the faint white lines in the back, those guidelines will help you take centered photos. When I tap on the item on the screen on my phone, it will clarify the picture. This helps brighten up dark colored items. The volume up button on my phone is a shortcut to capture photos. With some angles, it is a lot easier to use that button to take pictures. And something everyone who sells online should know is how to enable square mode on your phone's camera. This right here is square mode, so you can see it is an even square, but sometimes your phone will be on full mode, so it will be the whole screen taken up. That isn't what you want. This will have your photos cut off once you upload them to your platforms. So make sure you always have that 1x1 setting set on your phone so you don't run into issues later. Another thing that's gonna help you take pictures a lot faster is to know your angles ahead of time. This right here is the angle sheet for shoe pictures me and my kids use. Right here is the cover photo, and then we do some shots of the top of the shoe. Then we do the sides back here, and down here are just some important details and information we need to take about the shoes to create the listings. Doing something the same way every time is going to build muscle memory, so that alone is going to help you take your pictures faster. But also, with a predetermined order of pictures, you're not going to have to stop in the middle to wonder if you already took a certain angle or not. And you'll be less likely to forget something if you keep things consistent. And the last thing that's really going to help you speed things up is to plan an efficient space. Ideally, you want everything you're going to be using to take pictures to be in the order that you're going to be using them and within very close reach. There should be no backtracking when you're going through your picture taking process. Everything should be done in one fell swoop, very seamlessly and quickly. Before we move on to some picture examples, let me go over this setup with you and how I put everything in place to make it more efficient, to give you some ideas of how you could do the same. To start off, I do have my picture chart right above my workstation here. This workstation stays set up like this, so I don't have to break it down when I'm done. So if you could do that, that would be a huge time saver. Here on the lights is where I have these these clear acrylics in case I need them for strappy sandals. Back here I have my two other rulers, the larger one and the small one. Here is my neutral background. So here's where I would come and take all the angles of the item, and then right next to that is where I have my bagging and storage station. Here are the bags I use the most often, so that's why I have these here. But if I was taking pictures of larger shoes, I have the larger bags here, in which case I could move them over to this side if I was going to be using those. I have my skew sheets back there as well, but I do like to take off the ones I will be using and put them here so I don't have to take the time to unstick each skew as I'm taking pictures. Here on top of the scale, I do have a small dummy box that I put here just to account for the weight of the packaging, because that counts as well for shipping prices. I also have a few polymelers in here just to account for a little bit extra weight, just in case I don't ever want to undercharge and be stuck with extra shipping charges myself. And when I'm taking pictures of something that is larger and heavier, I will use this larger dummy box instead. I'll place this one on top of the scale just to account for the extra weight, and again, so I'm not undercharging for shipping. Once the item is bagged and skewed, then it goes into this storage box right here. I put everything from left to right always, left to right, front to back, and I do have this green binder at the bottom just so that the box is tilting a little bit forward, so when I start stacking the shoes here in rows, they're not falling over if it's tilted a little bit. And here I have my basket full of clean shoes ready to be photographed, so as soon as I put a finished one there, I get a new one and start back right over here with the pictures. So I guess the main takeaway from all of this is that everything is within arm's reach. I don't have to take more than a full step to get to anything I need as I'm taking photos, and that is what allows me to do it fairly quickly. Now let's move on to some picture examples. We're going to start off with these flats right here. The first thing I do is remove any brown paper. If you can see it on the cover photo, if the brown paper is way in the toe box and you can't see it in the pictures, I just leave it there. The bottom of the desk, I do have a container where I put that brown paper to reuse later. So here we got the cover shot, and now we're going to take the rest of the shots. I do have a timer going. It was my intention to record this example section while having a timer running, but that was kind of hard to keep up with. I was recording, taking pictures, and trying to keep up with the timer. So I did the best I could, at least with this first set of pictures. Here I'm taking the side views of these flats. These flats were kind of finicky. They kept falling and things like that. And even then, I was able to get it done under 90 seconds. But if they were much more simpler shoes to deal with, it would have been a lot less than 90 seconds. And here I'm just showing you the timer. It was 1:30 seconds. If I didn't include this in my process, the bagging, skewing, and weighing, then I would be able to get done in 1.5 minutes with these pictures. But as I said, I feel it's more efficient to do it here. So here I'm taking a picture of the skew and then of the weight. And I don't add the skew and weight pictures to my actual listings when I post them. I just use them as reference to fill out my listings. This next example is a tall pair of boots. For these, it does take me a little bit longer sometimes because these do require a lot more shots and a lot more measurements too. I like to take a picture of the yardstick showing the full length of the boots and then one up close of the heel, just so they can see more accurately how tall that heel or platform is. I also like to measure the shaft. I was getting lots of questions about that, so I started including that measurement as well. I do a couple shots for each of the sides so they can see the condition very well. I find it easier to take a picture of the bottom soles by stacking them like this, and then I take a picture of any tags, size, and material. And also I like to show them what the inside looks like, especially these tall boots. Sometimes they have fur, sometimes they're made of wool. I like to show that, and then from there it's just any details that I think they may want to see up close. From there we move on to bagging it in a large bag. Then it's just the skew, the weight, and we're done. All products mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below. If you want to see a video on how to take pictures of handbags, you can click this video right here. YouTube thinks you'd like this video over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.